Hello, this is Stephanie. I'm Stephanie. This is the Best Documentary 2019 Bookish Academy Awards nominations. Okay, so as I have said in probably numerous videos, this is the 2019 Bookish Academy Awards. This nominations video is for Best Documentary. In turn, that means historical fiction, historical romance, and non-fiction books that I have read through the year of 2019. Being that I did not read some of those categories in some months, I have just picked out books, and there is room for one more for the month of December if I happen to read one of those categories and end up enjoying it. But the criteria for this is that these books had to, no, the only criteria was that they had to fall into those categories. So the books that have received the nomination for this year is Tempest, Old West #3 by Beverly Jenkins. In this story, you have a young woman that is in the late 1800s in the Midwest to West, and she is a mail order bride. So when she's on her way out to the guy that has decided she's going to marry him, she ends up getting into a little bit of trouble, ends up shooting her betrothed, and come to find out he's also the town doc. So they go through what they see as an issue. In this, you get a lot of history lessons for African Americans in the late 1800s in the mountain areas of the West, and I was so here for it. This was, I want to say, probably one of my first Beverly Jenkins books, and man, can she give out history like no other. Normally, I am not about getting a history lesson or hearing about the oppression that African Americans had to go through before the sort of abolishment of segregation and things like that. I'm not a big fan of slavery books or things like that, but this one really caught my eye, and I have been on a Beverly Jenkins kick ever since. So yeah, definitely putting this one in the nomination pool for it. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Hunter, Victorian Rebels #2 by Kerrigan BYRNE. And in the story, gosh, now I can't think of what the story was about. That's interesting. Just know that I really enjoyed this one. I think these are going to be less explained than some of the other nominations, but this is set in Victorian times, and our main character, male main character, I believe he was an assassin hired to kill this woman, but in turn he didn't end up doing it because he saw something different within her, and she was doing all that she could to protect what the secrets that she had. And I really enjoyed this story, surprisingly, because it's a historical romance, and y'all know me, I'm not big into historical romances. Come on now. Next nomination goes to Outlander, which is Outlander #1 by Gabaldon. This was a reread for me, and it still held up this year as it did the first year that I read this. I ended up reading this on digital audiobook this time, and I was able to speed up the narration even more, and I was so here for it. The narrator's voice is the one that caught me initially, the first time that I listened to this story on CDs, mind you, but this time speeding her up and catching all the little nuances and things like that I absolutely love that have been translated to the television show as well. Yeah, just loved it. Really enjoyed it. Next nomination goes to 44 Chapters About 4 Men by BBA Easton. Now, this was not necessarily one of my favorite books from the year, but it definitely is a fun twist of fiction along with memoir, because BB Easton, this is sort of her story on how she ended up getting with her husband, her now man, her husband, her now husband. Let me see if I can get that one out. And I really enjoyed sort of the ride. There were some times where I was very uncomfortable with her story, but isn't that what's supposed to happen with a memoir? I mean, people have uncomfortable moments within their story. So this sort of borderlines on fiction, because she did change some people's names and change some situations to add some flair, but at the same time, it's a lot of her story, and I really enjoyed learning about her. The next nomination goes to A Rebel, which is Women Who Dare #3 by Beverly Jenkins. Once again, I'm getting a history story, getting a history lesson, and this one is actually based in New Orleans, where our female character has come to New Orleans to help with the Reconstruction. This is after the Emancipation Proclamation, and slaves down there are now free. However, there is still the stigma of, are we really free? Are we not free? But she meets a man that is well off. He's African American and Creole, and or he may be just Creole and like the Caribbean sort of track. But their story is beautiful, and it's heartbreaking, but at the same time getting a history lesson on things that a lot of African American people don't know actually happened, and I really appreciated that. The next nomination is actually 3 different books from the same series, and I really enjoyed this series, and that is Grigori, Mikhal, and Rurik, all part of the Brothers of Ash and Fire series, book 1, 2, and 3 by Lauren Smith. Now, this is a paranormal romance with historical nuances, and I was so here for it. Completely here for all 3 of these books. And to add into it, it talks about dragons, and I was just like, yes, yes, please. So they have earned a nomination individually. Each story was very historical and had a different little bit of a flair, just to give some drama and funness to it as well. The next nomination goes to How to Love a Duke in 10 Days by Kerrigan Bryne. And in this story, we have 3 young ladies that are in a school together. However, there is something that ends up happening, and secrets are held. When they grow up, they all attend one of their weddings, and more things end up happening. Well, this Duke that is involved after they've grown up is just about an arranged marriage, and it's not necessarily the person you think it's going to be. So I love the mystery around it. I love the fact that, you know, there are some historical pieces to it, and it was just really, really enjoyable. Next I'm going to talk about for nomination is Let Us Dream by Alyssa Cole. This story was based in the 1920s, I believe it was, in New York, and so it was dealing with a lot of the, are they freed slaves, or you know, immigration, women's suffrage, lots of historical moments for that. It is a short story, so it was very compact in the story and giving the information, but it definitely drew me in, and I really enjoyed it, so it earns a nomination. And then finally, I'm going to talk about Becoming by Michelle Obama. That I did a full vlog for. You guys got to see my reaction from start to finish for this memoir biography about the first black first lady pairing with the first black president, and you got to see her struggles from childhood all the way up until her leaving the White House, and it was phenomenal. It took me through all sorts of emotion, and I really, really enjoyed it. So those are the nominations for Best Documentary, i.e. historical fiction, historical romance, or nonfiction novels that I have read throughout the year of 2019. Let me know down in the comment section if there are some other books that you think, or what were some of your favorites from this year for this category down in the comment section. This will probably be going up so at the end of the year, so let me know if there's something I need to check out in 2020 that I missed out on in 2019. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know down in the comment section your thoughts. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.